Tina, thank you. I just got the message that it's being recorded. So yeah, so thanks for having me. It's definitely a great opportunity to share my knowledge and my experience just in different career fields with some of my fellow bloodhounds in the building. So and some friends as well. I see who have joined us for the Zoom call. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, gotcha. So, yeah. So, how do we get this started? I think I watched one of them where it was like a back and forth. Exactly sure what you need from me, Edwin.
Well, just explain, the career path from where you've started, how you got to where you're at and the different industries and different organizations you worked for. Just gives a good chance for students to know a little bit of background to understand that, if they're in that same position too as well, that it definitely can be done. So a little bit of background on yourself, and what you've dabbed into and what you're currently dabbing into.
Gotcha. Well, currently, I'm a community coordinator at Belmont Prep, which is a DOE school. So I'm employee of the state of New York, the lovely state of New York, in the Bronx. And I also manage a restaurant in the Harlem called Red Rooster. So it's a Marcus Samuelson created concept. I would say he's probably the most famous Black chef in the world currently. So it's been a blessing to have those two different random fields at my fingertips. But since I exited John Jay, actually learned a lot and networked a lot from some of my colleagues in John Jay. I used to be the president of a radio station there. So the crime lab is actually something that we started a few years back. I graduated in 2010. I'm trying to remember. It's been so long. Yeah, so it it gave me definitely a lot of opportunities to get engaged and involved with the community aspect of just careers in general. Getting to know people has definitely been an asset, and I've definitely relied on those relationships throughout John Jay to even get to where I am now currently. In terms of future situations, I do plan on opening my own venue soon. I have a consulting company now. So during the pandemic, since business was slow at Red Rooster, we've definitely gotten the opportunity to do more business with other venues in other states as well. So just been kind of blessed and honored to engage in helping people get their dreams fulfilled.
Awesome. You talk about a little bit more of the challenges, any challenges you faced throughout the line, in the different industries you've worked in.
Yeah, hmm. I would say so. I went to school for international criminal justice and did an internship with an agency. I'm not going to say who specifically, but my junior year into my senior year, I did an internship, and I wasn't really feeling the criminal justice aspect of the career path per se. So I just started looking for other opportunities. I would think that was a major um, time in my life where I had to really figure out what I wanted to do. I knew I was good at a lot of different things from coordinating events and working with student activities and Declan Walsh and all those different people over at John Jay. They definitely gave me a lot of different opportunities to use my talents and my network and my charm, my charisma to get into a lot of different platforms as well. So yeah, so I would say that was definitely a difficult time, but I think persistence is key and just staying confident in your abilities and what you're good at, and really trying to find your true calling when it comes to a career. You just don't want a job, you want a career that you're going to love and that you're going to want to be a part of. So hopefully
Awesome.
that, I'm not sure.
Awesome. So, how do you manage both aspects of that, working in the restaurateur industry, media industry, and as well working, for a public agency too as well?
Yeah, I definitely think it's a tightrope at times, but in terms of timing, the timing is kind of perfect. Um, in terms of my day job, I'm in here from 7 a.m. to about 4 p.m. And then I leave to go to the restaurant from about maybe 6 to about close, so probably like 12 to 1 o'clock. It's just been a pretty, straightforward and kind of seamless transition. But I did start before before I engaged in education and got into the education field. I was definitely like an event curator. We did a lot of events, a lot of parties, a lot of live shows, a lot of different things like that. And it allowed me the opportunity to juggle a lot of different things at the same time. So, hopefully no one from my job is listening to this, but I definitely juggle, check emails at the same time. Everything goes through my phone. I'm always like a phone person. So when it comes down to getting all of the business handled, it definitely gets handled. So, it's just about time. You have 24 hours in a day. You try to utilize all of them. I try
Awesome.
to utilize all of them.
Yeah. Awesome. Any advice you think you would give to any folks that are thinking pursuing these type of career, and think that that's not possible to juggle both, because of your array of experience and how you work with both is astounding. Given that, for any folks here who think want to jab on it, what's the best advice you could kind of give them?
I think when you're doing something that you like to do, I think that's pretty important in terms of just careers and juggling things in general. So I think I found two things that I'm very much so interested in, working with the youth in education and also working with culturally conscious brands that look like me, for lack of a better metaphor. Um, I would say once you find that calling, it'll definitely be something that you'll find a way to figure out. And I still consider myself a young person, in my 30s. So I have the energy and I try to make sure that I keep that level of energy up wherever I go and whatever I do, to be honest.
Awesome. That's great. We're going to open the floor for any folks who have any questions, concerns. Hey, look, at the floor is yours. If you want to write on the chat, I'll definitely manage it on the chat. If you want to, you can raise your hand, come in and speak. Don't be shy. We don't bite. and please fire away. See, Julie has a hand up. Go ahead, Judy.
Actually, it's me. Christina has the hand up.
Oh,
Thank you, Devin. So can you talk a little bit about some of the transferable skills you utilize in your education job and how that translates over to the work and the skills required in your more of the arts and entertainment marketing role?
I got you. That's a good question. I think it's the other way around. I think I started off with the arts and entertainment back in the day in John Jay days. I was touring and doing poetry with a group called the Reckless Takeover Tour, which is like a company that I created. So we did college and we did college workshops as well as performances. So I think just being a genuine person and being true to yourself and trying to be present is very important in terms of finding that connection. So I think that really shaped the reason why I got into education. I got an opportunity to work at Columbia University, the school at Columbia University, which is a retention tool for the faculty members. They have kids that go to a school called the school at Columbia University. So I got introduced to education through doing events and poetry, something I would have never even thought of. I like kids. I don't have any kids myself. I like the thought of them. I think they're cool. But I never really thought about being an educator or being in an educational field until I had that opportunity. So I guess without poetry, without being a relatively personable person, I would have never been afforded that opportunity as well. So I think those kind of go hand in hand when it comes down to it. So if you ever get a chance, I guess you could Google Devin the Poet and kind of give you a little bit of that side of my life and, maybe a little insight into who I am and how I got here.
awesome. There's a question here in the chat, actually interesting one. You said you found out you weren't interested in criminal justice anymore. Why didn't you transfer out of John Jay and go to another school?
That's a great question. I like that. Who answered that question? Who asked that question? I want to say thank you.
Diaz.
Okay.
I hope
Okay.
I'm pronouncing that
You
right.
Belkis? Yeah.
Beckys, yes.
Okay, got you. So you Miss Diaz or you Belkis, if I'm saying your name properly. Yeah, so I figured I really love the community of John Jay, to be honest. The criminal justice aspect of it, I think it has uh, I think it's amazing, criminal justice in general. But it just didn't resonate with me, especially when I did my internship that junior into senior year. And I felt like I was already committed at that point. And during that period, I was really comfortable at John Jay. I was the president of the radio station. I had my own office. The classes were super dope. I love learning about law, justice, and all the different things that were involved. Um, but I felt like I was committed at that point, and I feel like once you're committed to something, after a certain amount of years, it doesn't really make sense to transfer to a new environment. I think you should kind of finish it out. And as a person that is on a hiring committee currently, and has hired people on, in different fields from education to, being in working in a restaurant or even working on events, I don't think people really look at your undergraduate major in particular. I think it's more so important where you went to post grad school or graduate school. I think that has more of a weight in terms of your career path. So if you're thinking about getting an entry level job or getting into that field of study, I think it's not really going to matter what your 4-year degree is in. So at least for me, that's what I've experienced because it's education and working in restaurants and throwing events and doing cool stuff doesn't really sound like criminal justice. So
Great. Here's another question. Despite not going into criminal justice, how do you think your degree prepared you for this career you found yourself in?
that's a deep question. I definitely think just the analytical approach of criminal justice and what it represented in general, and just everything is tied to doing research and gathering information. So I think criminal justice is one of those fields that's very it's a cornerstone. Research is a cornerstone of criminal justice. There are different cases that exist that shape the laws that we have in front of us now. So I think I can apply that to anything now. So just as marketing, just as working in a school, there are different, chancellor's regulations. There's different things that you deal with on a daily basis that I feel John Jay has definitely helped a lot. Those research classes, those research papers, just knowing, the basics of law and police encounters and things like that, Miranda rights, et cetera. List goes on and on and on. It's been a while, but I definitely think that they transition and cross over well into where I'm at. So, don't get it twisted. I think John Jay is a great institution. I think I learned a lot. And sometimes you do have to go through things to learn what you want to do and what you don't want to do. So I think policing and criminal justice wasn't necessarily something that I wanted to do, but some of my friends are in it now. So they're enjoying it. They're loving it. So I still love John Jay regardless.
Awesome. Here's another question. Great question. When did you realize you wanted to have more than one career?
Oh man, I live in New York. So we're in New York. Most of us are in New York in this chat room. So we know what those bills look like. It's crazy out here. So I guess, one initial job is not enough financially. You get an entry level job. I remember when I was working at Columbia, I think I might have started in the 40s. And I gradually got raises, but 40,000 is enough to take care of yourself. You can't live with your parents forever. So I definitely was always a hustler when it came to those type of things and looking for opportunities to make revenue and just get economic stability. So if I do recommend, if you can do two different things, go for it. I definitely think the balance of working in a school in the day and then working in nightlife with people where your goals are, one can be quantified by if a child passes a test or if they come to school on time, and the other one can be quantified by the amount of money that you make annually. I think it's a great duality. I think it definitely empowers me every day. I think it's a great change of pace to go from a school working with high school age kids to go into a restaurant with a bar in it and people having drinks and having a good time and live music. So I enjoy it. It's definitely fun.
Great. Good response.
Mm-hmm.
Any other question, folks? So would you encourage students to participate more in extracurricular activities that relate to their interests?
No, I definitely think extracurricular activities are very important. It's something that I think you can build friendships for a lifetime. I have a lot of different friends that have graduated from John Jay, or lifelong friends that I've met at John Jay. I could name a few off the top of my head. Anthony Ron is also known as DJ Dubs. He does all the fights for Canelo Alvarez. He's a big time DJ. He was actually the vice president of the Crime Lab, John Jay radio station. My good friend Jermaine Cherry, he's actually in law now. He's actually in corporate law over at one of the top 5 law firms in the country in New York. So he's one of my friends now. Alan Barrett also works for the DOE, but he works in Tweed. Who else am I missing? Oh, Clement James. He used to work. Well, he does work for the governor's office now. So he's really high up there in terms of that. But those were the guys I used to hang out with at John Jay. Also, one of my other good friends, Miguel Lopez. He has his own clothing line now, so he does a lot of things with social media, Ken Stars, and things like that. So I mean, the people that you meet, the people that you sit next to in class are definitely an asset to you. So be as social as possible. Talk to people, get to know people that you don't know, because you never know what they're going to be 5-10 years from now. And I definitely think I'm a true testament to that.
Yeah, just to follow up on that, I was going to ask, just so folks know, how important is networking, especially in your field? How is that how much it would serve you in your career wise, and how much did it serve you in a sense? Because I know you mentioned a plethora of people. So
I definitely want to get them Edwin on here, man. They're very successful. So, so I could sit back and watch their John Jay career chat. But I definitely think networking is the most important thing. I think without networking, honestly, in today's career field, I think without good networking skills, you're gonna have a tough time. Even when you have an amazing resume, a lot of times you can be overlooked by people that have better networking skills, or they're more familiar with the candidate at hand, unfortunately. I've seen it firsthand. I mean, even my job at Columbia University, on paper, I might have not had the credentials to even step into the space of an Ivy League school. But through networking and having great relationships, having great rapport, and just delivering on what you say you're going to deliver on, I've been afforded those opportunities to get into those spaces. So yeah, man, network. Everybody's an asset. Edwin's not going to be in the career office forever. He might be the president of the school one day, so we don't know. or Christina, you never know.
It's funny. I like that one. It's good. It's true though.
It is true.
But one of the questions is we have here in the chat: how did you ensure your restaurant recovered from the pandemic?
Oh man, who knows if we're even recovered from the pandemic? I mean, in terms of Red Rooster, just to give you guys a little bit of insight, I think it gave us an opportunity to kind of strip down, all of the things that we didn't necessarily need. We kind of like really took a good look at our business model and just made sure that whatever we were trying to deliver on was executed in a faster way, in a more concise way, in a more direct way to our consumer. Just like restaurants in general, you might have limited space because of the 6 feet rule. You might have limited amount of guests because of the vaccination laws that are being passed, but you have to make sure that you're flexible and that you're really using your brain to try to figure out solutions, as opposed to not doing anything when it comes to these type of events or pandemics. So definitely.
It's another one. How's your work/life balance? How do you balance your careers as well as your personal life?
Yeah.
Deep.
Personal life. I think honestly, I think you just have to have great people around you. My friends uplift me. My girlfriend is very encouraging. I appreciate her a lot. Love her a lot. Um, and just keeping your energy positive. I mean, because at the end of the day, we're here to serve. We're really here to engage others. I think the more that you find opportunities to help others, the more you'll get back from it in your own life. Um, me working with kids, I feel like I joke with my friends all the time. I say like that morally, that's my ticket to heaven. And then on the other side, it's like a restaurant, so it's selling alcohol and music and all the bad stuff for the most part. But that's the money side. So if you have a balance of both, if you try to bring that into your life in terms of just positive energy, I think you can do anything. Anything is possible. Keep positive people in your circle, you'll be fine.
Wow. Here's a deep question. What mistakes did you make early in your career, and if you did any?
Oh man, I mean, let's go to my John Jay career. Let's see. It took me a little bit longer to graduate than the normal 4-year student. I think I graduated in about 5 years instead of 4. I think I was on academic probation at one point, but I got off of it. I think scheduling is something that I learned during that time period, and just making sure that you allot the time for all the necessary things that are required of you. Back then I wasn't as organized as I am now. I'm pretty organized when it comes down to timing. I like to set alarms. I like to set reminders. Even for this meeting, I was probably in the meeting maybe like 20, 30 minutes earlier, even though I'm doing like 50 other things. But I wanted to make sure that the Zoom worked, make sure the audio was good, make sure the blinds were closed, so lighting was good. I think just being intentional and present is very important. So yeah, those are my words to live by.
Nice. And another question, what are the 3 top skills you would say are critical in pursuing a career within education and or arts and marketing?
3 top skills. Wow, that's a good question. The 3 top skills. Top skills. I mean, outside of knowing Google, I feel like Gmail and Google Suites is very important. So if you have that skill set, you'll be fine in any school you go to. Everything is like Google Classrooms. Everything is like Google Spreadsheet. Everything is like list server, all that stuff. If you have those type of skills, I think you'll get very far. And also in the restaurant, we use Google as well, very heavily, Google Sheets. Being personable, being yourself, being your authentic self is very important. I don't know if that's a skill set or how you would describe it. I guess being personable. Yeah, and I feel like this is like a running joke. Being present is very important. I think a lot of times in New York City, we get kind of distracted and caught up with our day to day, and just to commute, to go here, to go there, to go home, to come back, to go do it again. I think you need to take time for yourself and kind of be in the moment, and enjoy the hunt, enjoy the chase, because you don't want to burn yourself out. I think one of those things, probably why I was failing a few classes at John Jay, was I wasn't present. I wasn't being present. I was just going through the motion a lot of times. So once I got that fixed and started being more present, started being more organized, I definitely saw different results. So, yeah.
Ooh, that's a good one.
You guys got great questions here. This is what I'm talking about. This helps me as opposed to like talk about yourself. Go ahead. Go.
Great. There's another one. It's a 2 question. What is the most important question or topic to bring up when you're networking? And when did you realize marketing was something you wanted to pursue? So it's a 2-part question.
Got you. Okay. So the first part, go say the first part again, because I heard the second part.
That's fine. What is the most important question or / topic to bring up when you're networking?
When you're networking. Okay. I definitely think it depends on where you're at. I think it's very important to, I'm horrible with names, but I'm really good with faces though. So I think learning names is very important. I'm going to start writing down names a lot more. Also, being there and really engaging the person, because if you're trying to network Of course, you're trying to get your ultimate goal, whatever that is. And the reason for you even engaging in a networking opportunity is for you to get ahead. But at the same time, that person has something to offer the conversation. That person also has something to offer beyond giving you something. So I think learning, um, you know, what that person does and what that person's true motivation is for what they're doing is very important, or just as important as the ask, if you get where I'm coming from with that, Edwin. So, it's not necessarily just about asking or like, oh yeah, what do you do? And like the generic, like, oh, that's great. Oh, okay, cool. Um, it's generally getting to know people. Once you get to know people, they'll be your friend forever. They'll shoot you a text. They'll like all your photos on Instagram. They'll look at your resume. They'll do whatever. So get to know the person that you're trying to network with and genuinely be present. So that's one thing. And then the second part was
When did
skills
you
and
realize
marketing.
marketing was something you were wanting to pursue?
Okay.
Eureka moment. You're like,
Yeah.
this is what I really want to do.
I mean, it was I always liked the thought of community and bringing people together to do different things. I think the connecting factor, or the string that goes through all of my career paths, was definitely me liking to bring people together. So I think people are a little stubborn sometimes, especially in New York. We have so many different options. So, you can go to the movies, you can go to a party. There's probably 50 million things happening. There's shows, there's all different things. I think you have to really do a good job of marketing, right? So once I learned how to do a good job in marketing events and selling something to someone, I definitely utilized that to its highest capacity, and I think that's very important. And that probably happened, I would say, early on, probably like early in my John Jay career, where I really tried to lock in on marketing. So the name of the company is called Reckless Entertainment. So I kind of wanted to be like Diddy with Bad Boy. So I was like, yeah, we need a name that pops. And it was like Reckless. Reckless stuck in my head. So that was like maybe like 15 years ago or more, probably. So I definitely think, having a great name, having good energy, is very important, and you have to definitely market and do a good job at it. So early into my freshman, probably sophomore year, I learned marketing was something that I wanted to do to bring the people together.
Awesome. Folks have any questions, questions, concern, any final thoughts you folks might have, there's one. How did you learn marketing if you went to school for criminal justice? That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one. I definitely think through networking, through doing events, through being a part of John Jay Radio. I used to play the music for the basketball game for the basketball team back in the day too, when I went to John Jay. So yeah, so I mean, you're going to learn a lot from John Jay in terms of criminal justice, like the paper. On paper, you're going to write reports. You're going to try to develop your own ideas and write them down in essays. You're going to submit them. You're going to get graded. But I think a lot of the learning is going to come from your peers. I think a lot of the learning is going to come from your own passion, your own pursuit. You have to look for things that you want to do, as well as do your classes and pass those things. So I think the balance of both is very important. I've learned a lot of things that I know from other people, from being observant, from being present, and just taking it all in. Be a sponge, baby.
Nice. Since I think we're kind of wrapping down, any final thoughts, Devin, that you want to throw out? And if so, would you advise any students to use our career center?
Of course. Oh man, yeah, definitely use the career center, man. You have to utilize these great people that you have there. I'm sure they do workshops on building your resume up. I'm sure they're doing all types of dope things like this, where they're inviting alumni to come back and talk to you guys. Utilize those things. Your student activity budget definitely pays for this. So I don't know if that's specifically the student activity budget, but your school tuition pays for a part of this. So make sure you utilize all of those different assets that you have in the building. And in terms of last words, follow me on Instagram, Reckless and Rich. We also have the Reckless Group on Gmail. If you have any questions, the Reckless Group at Gmail, you can email me. Red Rooster Harlem, also on Instagram, Marcus Samuelson. It's also the chef that I work for. So if you guys need anything, I'm sure Edwin will, you give my information, share it with you guys. I am your muse, whatever you need, let me know. I'm definitely an asset, and I appreciate you guys for having me. Thank you, Christina. Thank you, Edwin. Thank you, John Jay, all the students, all the people that are attending this chat. And peace out. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I don't know if we can give claps, but I'm gonna give one right now. Thank you, Devin, for coming by.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll have plenty more of these soon. And Devin, anything you need, please feel free to reach out. More than
Definitely.
happy to help.